Hi guys, I'm Nuwan, co-founder of TestChimp, the AI co-pilot for QA teams. I'm pretty sure a lot of you are huge fans of vibe coding, just like I am. However, when it comes to doing front-end development work on UIs, I often find myself going back and forth with the LLM to explain in sufficient detail what the UI looks like and what's expected. But what if instead we could just point at the UI directly from the browser and show the area or elements we are referring to and explain what needs to be fixed and have our IDs get to work on the request? This is what we are enabling with what we're calling visual vibe coding with the TestChimp Chrome extension and Cursor ID integration. All right, let's have a look at how it works. So this is a UI I'm working on for our upgrade model. You can see that the panels are not aligned properly and the two buttons are not aligned well. I want the Indie upgrade button to have different styling than the Teams upgrade. So let's go ahead and fix those. When you open the extension and head to the Dev tab, you will see a context window. You can select specific elements on screen, or you can select an area. Let's fix the button color issue first. I will select the button and explain the fix needed. Now, when you press Send to IDE, the Chrome extension will communicate with your IDE via our VS Code extension. Okay, so let's have a look at the prompt being sent. You have the original request you made, but in addition to that, for the elements you added to the context window, the prompt includes various crucial information, such as IDs, selectors, text content, which helps identify the element. Then we include computed styles, which helps Cursor to understand what's being rendered. We also include the ancestry hierarchy, which is useful for the assistant to understand the parent-child relationships in the components, since often UIs rely on parent component styling and positioning. And finally, we have also included related files for the component if available. You can enable this by adding a custom Babel plugin called the source mapper, which instruments your build with source file information. That is then extracted by the extension and communicated back to your IDE. This rich context allows your IDE assistant to precisely understand where the elements are located and how to structure the fix properly. Press go, and when you open the browser, you can see that the styling issue has been fixed. Okay, so now let's do something a bit more challenging: the panel alignment and button positioning. So for this, I will select the area of interest on the screen and then save the change I want. For area selections in the prompt, it includes the bounding box coordinates and identifies the top-level components within that area. For each top-level component, it then goes ahead and provides the information just like before. And at the bottom, you can see a section about MCP tool use. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, which allows MCP clients such as Cursor, Claude Code, etc., to communicate with MCP servers that exposes various tools that they can use. And up until now, what you saw were one-shot prompting, where the interaction is limited to just one prompt and answer. But with MCP, the workflow can become an interactive collaboration session, where the IDE can request additional information and go back and forth until the issue is resolved. So TestChimp has a local agent server, which acts as an MCP server as well, exposing 7 tools for your IDE, 4 of them relating to accessing current browser context, such as fetching additional information about context elements, which gives the IDE the full computed styles, the complete set of DOM attributes, and more. Then you have fetching recent console logs and request response pairs, which are useful for troubleshooting and understanding root causes of issues. And finally, you have get DOM snapshot, which gives the IDE the full picture of the current UI in an LLM-friendly manner. The other 3 tools are related to your application's broader runtime behavior. So a quick note on that. So IDEs have great context about your static code, but it doesn't know how your application works during runtime. And TestChimp runs autonomous agents on your application during runtime, interacting with it like a human would. And along the way, it builds an indexing about the runtime behavior, capturing the different screens, the states, and pathways that exist, detailed down to individual element level. With the TestChimp MCP, we are bringing those insights right into your IDE so that it can reason with better runtime context for broader tasks like user stories. All right, so let's go ahead with the fix. So now the panels are aligned correctly, but the button isn't aligned as we expected. You can simply ask Cursor to check the DOM and do the fix needed. And since Cursor knows of the tools exposed, it decides to use the get DOM snapshot tool. So you can see it has received the DOM structure. And now when you go back to the screen, you can see the issue has been fixed. To check your MCP tools, you can go to Cursor settings and select tools and integrations. You can see it has the TestChimp MCP installed and notes of the 7 tools we expose and what they do. To install, all you need to do is download our Python package and run it, and configure the URL in your MCP.json file. Okay, so let's have a quick recap of how all of the moving parts I explained fit together for a seamless wide coding setup. You have the Chrome extension, which allows you to point at elements and explain requirements, which then talks to your IDE via our VS Code extension. When the IDE decides it wants additional information, it will invoke our MCP server. If the request is asking about the current browser state, it will communicate with our Chrome extension and get the relevant information. And if it is about your app's overall runtime behavior graph, then it will talk to TestChimp servers and get the requested information back to Cursor. So that's it from me for now. Hope you enjoyed the video and happy web coding.